Have you ever felt it? That gnawing emptiness in the pit of your stomach, even when you're supposedly wrapped in the arms of love? Have you ever wondered if this grand emotion, the one 1,000 songs and stories celebrate, is nothing more than a beautifully crafted cage? You chase it, you bleed for it, you sacrifice pieces of yourself on its altar. But what if the love you've been taught to crave, the love that promises salvation, is the very architect of your deepest despair? We whisper its name in hushed, reverent tones. Love. A beacon in the dark, they say. But what if that beacon is a mirage, luring you towards a barren wasteland? You've poured your soul into another, hoping to feel whole, only to find yourself more fractured, more lost than before. You've believed in its power to heal, yet the wounds only seem to deepen, hidden beneath a veneer of forced smiles and whispered promises. Tonight, we don't just question love. We drag it into the harsh, unforgiving light. We explore a terrifying possibility, that the love you believe is essential for your survival is, in fact, a slow poison, meticulously eroding your very being. You've felt the disillusionment, haven't you? That creeping suspicion that something is profoundly wrong with this picture. You never understood why it always seemed to end in ashes, until now. Prepare yourself, for the truth we are about to unearth is not for the faint of heart. It's a truth that might shatter everything you thought you knew. To understand the chains, we must first understand the one who offered us the hammer to break them, Friedrich Nietzsche, a man who danced with madness, who stared into the abyss until the abyss stared back into him. Born in 1844, this German philosopher was a provocateur, a cultural critic, a poet of ideas whose words still thunder through the halls of thought, shaking the foundations of our most cherished beliefs. He was no stranger to suffering, battling debilitating illness for much of his life. Perhaps it was this constant proximity to pain that sharpened his gaze, allowing him to see the rot beneath the gilded surfaces of society. Nietzsche wielded his philosophy like a weapon against the comforting lies of his time and ours. He spoke of the death of God, not as a celebration, but as a profound crisis, leaving humanity adrift in a cosmos devoid of inherent meaning. He championed the will to power, not as a crude desire for domination, but as the fundamental driving force of all life, the relentless striving for growth, for overcoming, for self-mastery. He gave us the concept of the Übermensch, the overman, a symbol of humanity's potential to transcend its current limitations, to create its own values in a meaningless world. But how does this tie into the illusion of love? Nietzsche was deeply critical of what he often saw as the weakening, herd-like morality of his era, a morality that often masqueraded as love. He saw how concepts of love could be twisted into tools of control, fostering dependency and resentment, rather than strength and genuine connection. He wasn't against love itself, perhaps, but against its saccharine, life-denying perversions. As he once declared, "There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness." He challenged us to examine the reasons behind our madness, the health of our affections. He forced us to ask, is this love an affirmation of life, a spur to my own power and growth, or is it a crutch, a flight from myself, a comfortable sickness? The answers, as we shall see, are often buried deep within the shadows of our own hearts. Where does this ache truly begin? This hollow longing that so often accompanies what we call love. It's not born from the grand, dramatic betrayals, not always. More often, it festers in the quiet compromises, in the slow erosion of self that occurs when love becomes a negotiation of need, rather than a celebration of being. You were taught perhaps that love means sacrifice, that to be loved, you must make yourself smaller, more agreeable, less you. You learned to silence your own desires, to bury your ambitions, lest they be perceived as selfish, as unloving. You saw it in your parents, perhaps, one partner dimming their light so the other could shine, or both caught in a web of unspoken resentments, calling it devotion. You absorbed it from the stories, the films, the songs, this narrative that love is about finding your other half, as if you were incomplete to begin with. Think about it. The countless times you've contorted yourself to fit someone else's mold, the dreams you've deferred, the passions you've let die, all in the name of preserving a connection that, in truth, was starving your soul. This isn't a failing of your heart. It's a symptom of a deeply ingrained cultural sickness. We are sold a version of love that is intrinsically linked to lack, to a sense of insufficiency. You complete me. the famous line goes. But what if this very idea is the seed of our torment? What if the desperate search for completion outside ourselves is precisely what guarantees our perpetual dissatisfaction? The pain arises from this fundamental misconception that love is something to get rather than something to become. It's the agony of expecting another human being, as flawed and searching as yourself, to be the source of your fulfillment, your meaning, your salvation from loneliness. They can't be. And when they inevitably fail to live up to this impossible standard, the illusion shatters, and the pain you were trying to escape rushes in, amplified by the weight of your misplaced hope. This is the breeding ground of resentment, the quiet despair that settles in when love feels more like a debt than a gift. The illusion is a masterpiece of deception woven into the very fabric of our culture. It's the lie whispered from the moment you were old enough to understand stories, that romantic love is the ultimate prize, the pinnacle of human experience, the only true path to happiness. And you, like all of us, bought into it. How could you not? This illusion tells you that your worth is tied to your relationship status. Single, you must be lonely, incomplete, somehow failing at life. In a relationship, then it must be perfect, or you must pretend it is, lest you shatter the collective fantasy. The pressure is immense, subtle, yet suffocating. Society, in many ways, doesn't want you to be truly, radically self-sufficient. It prefers you dependent, predictable, easily managed. And what better way to ensure that than to make you believe that your ultimate fulfillment lies in another person? The illusion further dictates that love should be effortless, a magical spark that, once ignited, burns eternally without tending. This is the fairy tale lie that sets you up for crushing disappointment. Real connection requires work, conscious effort, often uncomfortable growth. But the illusion sells you a passive fantasy where you are swept off your feet, where problems melt away in the face of true love. And what is the component of this illusion that society really doesn't want you to understand? It's that this idealized love often serves as a distraction, a powerful opiate to keep you from confronting the more terrifying realities of existence, your own solitude, your own mortality, your own responsibility for creating meaning in a meaningless universe. If you're constantly chasing the high of romantic love, you're less likely to engage in the arduous task of self-creation, of building an inner fortress of strength and purpose that doesn't crumble when a relationship ends. They don't want you to realize that the most profound love affair you can have is with your own potential, with your own life, because a populace of truly self-possessed individuals is much harder to control, much harder to sell empty promises to. This is the illusion that keeps you bound, not by love, but by the fear of not being loved in a way that conforms to a script you never wrote. Now, let us strip away the sentimentality, the perfume and powdered sugar, and gaze upon love through the unflinching eyes of Nietzsche. The truth, as he might present it, is far more formidable, yet ultimately more liberating. For Nietzsche, any love that diminishes your will to power, that makes you weaker, more dependent, more resentful, is not love but a form of tyranny, a subtle sickness of the soul. He would argue that many conventional forms of love are rooted in weakness, not strength. Pity, for instance, often masquerading as compassion, can be a way for the lover to feel superior, to exert a gentle control over the beloved. The need to be constantly validated by another, to see your reflection only in their adoring eyes, this for Nietzsche would be a sign of profound self-insufficiency, a flight from the terror of your own freedom. The philosophical truth is that authentic love, if it is to be a life-affirming force, must be born from an overflow, not a deficiency. It is not the meeting of two half-empty vessels hoping to fill each other, but the encounter of two self-possessed individuals who choose to share their abundance. What is done out of love, Nietzsche said, always takes place beyond good and evil. This suggests a love that transcends conventional morality, a love that doesn't seek to possess or diminish, but to enhance the vitality of both self and other. Imagine a love that challenges you to become more of who you are, not less. A love that fuels your highest aspirations, that celebrates your strength, that stands beside you as you strive towards your own self-overcoming, your own personal Übermensch. This is not the codependent clinging so often peddled as romance. This is a love between equals, a sacred selfishness where each partner is dedicated to their own growth, and through that, enriches the connection. Nietzsche might say that the illusion of love you've been chasing is a symptom of a slave morality, where values like humility, pity, and self-sacrifice are exalted because they serve the interests of the weak, keeping everyone comfortably mediocre. He would urge you towards a master morality, where strength, creativity, and self-affirmation are the highest virtues. In this context, true love becomes an expression of this strength, a joyful affirmation of life in all its beautiful terror, shared with another who is equally committed to their own ascent. It's a love that says, I want you to become who you are, even if that means you outgrow me or I you. For our paths to cross even for a time in shared strength is a gift. To glimpse this Nietzschean truth about love is to invite chaos into the ordered chambers of your heart. The initial reaction is rarely peace. It is a violent internal tremor. Everything you thought was solid ground begins to crack. The relationships you're in, the ones you mourn, the ones you dream of, all are cast under a harsh new light, and the sight can be unbearable. You look back at your past loves and a bitter taste fills your mouth. Was it all a lie? Were you a willing participant in your own diminishment? The guilt can be a vice, squeezing the air from your lungs. You see the patterns, the compromises, the times you betrayed yourself for a comforting hand, a warm body, a promise of forever that was always destined to break. This isn't just intellectual understanding. It's a visceral recoiling from your own history. And then there's the fear. If this conventional love is an illusion, what's left? The path Nietzsche points towards, one of self-mastery, of love born from strength, can seem terrifyingly lonely. It means relinquishing the crutch of another's validation. It means standing on your own, perhaps for the first time, responsible for your own happiness, your own meaning. The allure of the old ways, the familiar comfort of dependent love, will call to you like a siren song. Come back, it whispers. It's easier here in the shadows. This is the battleground. The conflict between the deeply ingrained need for the old, familiar script of love and the dawning, terrifying realization that this script is a prison. You will oscillate. One moment, you'll feel a surge of exhilarating freedom, a resolve to build yourself anew. The next, a wave of profound loneliness and doubt will crash over you, making you yearn for the simple, albeit flawed, comforts you once knew. Your friends, your family, still steeped in the illusion, may not understand. They may see your newfound clarity as cynicism, your quest for self-sovereignty as selfishness. You will feel alienated, perhaps, like an exile from a world that suddenly seems alien. This is the crucible. This is where the transformation is forged. In the fires of this internal war, you are dismantling a lifetime of conditioning. It's painful, it's messy, it's supposed to be. You are in essence grieving the death of an old self, an old understanding of one of life's most fundamental experiences. But through this turmoil, something new is struggling to be born. A flicker of authentic strength, a dawning respect for your own resilience. The pain of this conflict is not a sign that you are broken, it is the agony of metamorphosis. You are shedding a skin that has become too tight, too restrictive. The philosopher's truth has planted a seed, and now it rends the earth of your soul as it fights for the light. The discovery of the illusion, the ensuing internal war, these are not endpoints but violent beginnings. The demolition is necessary for the reconstruction. Now how can this raw Nietzschean insight not just tear down but build up? How can it liberate you from the ruins of a love that destroys? The first step in reconstruction is the courageous embrace of your own solitude, not as a curse, but as a sacred space for self-discovery. It is in this solitude that you can finally hear your own voice, discern your own values, cultivate your own strength, unclouded by the expectations and needs of others. This is not about becoming a hermit, but about becoming a whole individual first. As Nietzsche implied, one must be a self before one can truly give of that self in a healthy way. Next, begin to redefine love not as a passive state of being in love, but as an active verb, to love with discernment, with an eye towards that which affirms life and power, both in yourself and in another. This means choosing partners not out of lack or fear of loneliness, but out of a desire for shared growth, for noble friendship, as Nietzsche sometimes termed the highest connections. This is a love that doesn't seek to merge, but to stand beside two strong pillars supporting something greater than themselves. Cultivate your will to power in its truest sense, Strive for self-mastery in all areas of your life. Develop your talents, pursue your passions, build your resilience. The more you become a source of your own strength and validation, the less you will seek it desperately from others, and the healthier your connections will be. A person who is deeply engaged in their own becoming is infinitely more attractive and capable of genuine love than one who is waiting to be completed. This reconstruction involves a radical honesty with yourself. What do you truly value? What are your non-negotiables? What kind of connections genuinely nourish your spirit, and which ones drain you? Learn to walk away from that which diminishes you, even if it's terrifying. This is not cruelty. It is profound self-respect. The liberation comes when you realize that you are the artist of your own life, and love is but one color on your palette, a vibrant, powerful color, but not the entire painting. You can choose to paint with it in ways that are beautiful and empowering, rather than destructive. It is a difficult path, this reconstruction. It demands constant vigilance, courage, and a willingness to be misunderstood. But the reward is a love that doesn't destroy, but fortifies. A love that is an expression of your strength, not a testament to your weakness. A love that finally, truly, sets you free. So the curtain falls on the grand theater of illusory love. The pretty masks have been torn away, revealing the stark, sometimes unsettling face of a Nietzschean truth. You've seen how the love that promised paradise might have been leading you through the circles of your own private hell, a cycle of hope and despair fueled by an illusion meticulously crafted and fiercely guarded. You stand now at a precipice. Behind you lies the wreckage of comforting falsehoods, the familiar ache of a love that consumes. Before you, what? A path less traveled, certainly. A path demanding a terrifying degree of self-responsibility, of inner fortitude. A path where love is not a refuge from life, but a courageous engagement with life in all its brutal beauty. The old narratives will continue to echo. The songs of dependent longing will still play. The pressure to conform, to seek completion in another, will still press in from all sides. The illusion is tenacious, for it feeds on our deepest fears and our most cherished dreams of effortlessness. But you have been given a glimpse behind the veil. You've been armed with a dangerous knowledge. You can choose to forget, to retreat into the familiar warmth of the lie, to once again seek solace in the arms of a love that may ultimately diminish you. Many do. The comfort of the cage is a powerful sedative. Or you can embrace the terror and the glory of this newfound perspective. You can choose to embark on the arduous, lifelong project of forging a self strong enough to love without being consumed, to connect from a place of abundance, not lack, to build relationships that are monuments to shared strength rather than mausoleums of individual sacrifice. The choice, as always, is yours. But let this question burn within you, long after the silence falls. If the love you seek continues to bring you pain, is it truly love you are seeking, or merely a beautiful, familiar poison you've forgotten how to live without? The hour is late. The illusion is pervasive. But your life, your one wild, precious life, is still yours to reclaim. Discover the truth of yourself before the love you think you need becomes the epitaph of the person you were meant to be. Think about it. Truly think, before it's too late.